Welcome. Welcome to today's meditation. I'm thrilled that you're here. Happy to be here myself. Happy that she's here with us as well. So today I want to take a moment to muse upon the power of energetic mastery. What it is that occurs in our psyche when we've moved through a chapter, when we've mastered a chapter of soul lessons. So we can be sure that we've mastered a chapter of soul lessons when the situations or the circumstances have not changed, but our responses and our reactions have changed. Think about how often that presents itself for our noticing on the path. When the circumstances haven't changed, but our response has changed. And we find ourselves more and more and more poised in the neutral mind. And isn't that a great thing to discover about oneself? And this is true energetic self-mastery, and this is really important. So for the explorations that I've put together for us in today's meditation, we're going to be identifying and isolating and dissecting the current primary obstacle or limitation that happens to be getting in the way of us shining our revelation out into the world full power at maximum fullness. So take this moment right now to think about, what is that current limitation? What is that current obstacle that keeps me in conversation with excuses? What is it? These quiet moments, the moments filled with ideas and chatter, they're important, but the silent contemplative moments are equally as important. So let this moment of tuning in be a moment of landing in worth. Because self-worth is the law of attraction, right? And what we're creating on our path and in our lives and in the world and in our hearts and in our minds, what we are creating is creating us. It never goes one way, right? There's this simultaneity. What we are creating is creating us. So chances are good you've identified, and now we're going to isolate that obstacle and limitation, and then we're going to dissect it through the dynamic aspects of today's meditation. And the beauty of these integral dynamic meditations that we do in this community is that we get to directly realize how confidence comes from taking action. In the same way that we can't fix the mind with the mind all the time, we can't just think about the transformations and transfigurations and transmutations that we want to experience on the path, but we have to give them legs, right? And so that's what all this stuff is about, giving legs to what it is that you're creating, so it can actively be creating you too, in accordance with the highest timeline. Isn't it beautiful? This opportunity to tune in, to clean up, to radiate out, to give and to receive. So I want you to think about, before we begin, to think about what your primary muse force is right now. What is it that's most amusing to you? What is it that is that's got you feeling inspired to court the larger comfort zone? You hear people say, well, oh my gosh, that's so out of my box, or it's so out of my comfort zone. It's really just the process of making your comfort zone bigger, right? So what is it what muse force is alluring you, courting you, inviting you, instructing you, and maybe even commanding you to expand your comfort zone, to include more, so that you can be more of a maverick, so that you can be dancing with your mojo a little bit more, duende style, right? So let's begin. I'm gonna just move this soundtrack right along because this is, and I've got some really amazing African music for us to do these dynamic practices too. So you wanna generate creative friction with your complacency, because obstacles and limitations are very clever, and because they're usually so deep-seated and long-standing in our structures, behaviorally and in our beliefs, because they're so long-standing, we have to, pull it up compassionately, but certainly from the root, okay? So let these practices help you generate creative friction with your complacency. So again, you're expanding your comfort zone. So you know this, we're bringing the index fingers together and then the moon mound, which is this part of the outer edge of the hand, together. And we're gonna work with breath of fire out of the nose today, okay? Remember, every time you exhale on a breath of fire, you're pulling your abdominal wall back, in and up, okay? So you're gonna tap and tap. And this is all happening in the resonant field right out in front of your heart center, in front of that second dantian vicinity of your body, okay? So tap and tap, like so. And I'd like for you please to look at the tip of your nose while this practice is happening, okay? Stay with it. Let me just turn this up. Muse force, feel the muse force synapsing through your whole structure. Each time the fingers tap and each time the moon mound of the hand taps, okay? Synapsing through the whole of your organism. Try to stay as relaxed as you possibly can in the continuity of the dynamic meditation, because it's in our relaxed state that our genius, our ingenuity, our maverick mind, our muse force, and all of our mojo power, it only comes through soul force, not brute force. And soul force is only emanated when we are relaxed and when we're in a state of self-worth and when we trust the process. Okay, so even though a lot is happening and it might feel vigorous and maybe challenging, remember, challenge is always a negotiating partner. Relax deeply into it. What you are creating is creating you. What are you creating? What are you creating? relax for a second. Take a moment to just let the practice go through the winnowing basket of your being. You know, Mary Oliver, who's one of my long-standing favorite poets, what a naturalist, what an earth mystic she was. She said, sometimes I only need to stand wherever I am to be blessed, to stand wherever I am. So wherever you are in the process, wherever you are in your life, wherever you are today, in this moment, in the trajectory, in the unfolding of you coming here and doing the exciting and noble work of becoming who you came here to be, wherever you are is exactly where you need to be. Feel how blessed you are in that stance, in that seat of trust and connection. Yeah. Okay, so moving right along, the next aspect of this set, one of my favorites, the old nervous system windshield wiper blades. Okay, same thing with the breathing. So we're working with the breath of fire through the nostrils today. Again, the moving parts involve the abdominal pulsation. You're working with cultivating navel skills. This is really important when you are embedding, codifying the terrain of your body with worth, okay? That's what defines your magnetism. Okay, so looking at the tip of the nose, breath of fire in and out of the nose. Let's do it. We're going to do it kind of for a while, so pace yourself. And Omu Sangare, she's setting out a really fabulous rhythm for us. So every time your arms open up, feel your spine also lifting up. You are self-elevating. You are creating a clean caliber of command in your sensory system. Be sure your arms are at a diagonal in front of your body. These are all parasympathetic maneuvers. So if you have trouble sleeping at night, if you work with feeling anxious, if you're fatigued, if you're complacent, if you're depressed, these are incredibly effective hacks, these dynamic meditations. Effective hacks on the mainframe of your subconscious behaviors and beliefs, so that, you get to decide how radiant you're going to be. And there's no ceiling on that. These practices are about breaking the glass ceiling of what we believe to be the defined stop. Now check in. Can you relax your tongue a little bit more? Great. Bring the hands down to the top of the knees. Take a couple of neutralizing and grounding breaths. This work, it's about becoming a CEO of your own creative processes, you know, so that so that you're not the CEO of the unfinished business in your life, but that you can, be actively looking at and congratulating yourself for the already accomplished list, right? All right, so the next, just turn this down for a second. The next aspect of this set, you're going to make fists, and this is the glass ceiling gesture, okay? And you're throwing both fists up, but also out, and breaking through the limitations, identifying, isolating, and dissecting the limitation. Okay, so imagine that the limitation was right there, kind of resting on the top of that glass ceiling, and because you are an awake practitioner, you are one step ahead of it. And that's the thing about, the beliefs and the behaviors that cyclically, like samsaras, which I was talking about earlier this week, which you'll be able to catch on a replay, but these samsaras, these cyclical, repetitive habit patterns and belief and behavior patterns, we want to be one step ahead of them so that we can dissect them and send them back to be recycled and to become energy, more raw material for our inner resourcefulness and our creative generativeness. All right, let's do this. Same gaze point, same breathing. Okay. Oops, didn't need to pause it. There we go. Because that song gets a little bit freestyle, and I want you to still have a good rhythm to do this too. I love the freestyle aspect of it, but for this set, we want to have a percussive rhythm. Muse, mojo, maverick. Really get into the soul force. Feel it animating, elevating, activating, integrating in every cell of your body. You're kind of changing the oil in your spine. I know it's hard. I know the arms are on fire, but again, we're generating creative friction to cultivate the breakthrough. Good. Bring the hands back down. Good. So, hands like so. So you're pancaking them flat and all fingers sealed together. You're making a circle from fingertip to elbow tip on both sides of the body simultaneously. It's an outward swinging circle. So create the outward swinging circle and then tap the side of the ribs. So another breakthrough, dynamic breakthrough gesture. Because I say this all the time, because it's so true and because I mean it, that breakthrough is right around the corner from every breakdown that we find ourselves having. And again, this focus that we have today on energetic self-mastery is when we start identifying the cascade of sensations and emotions and thoughts and feelings that arise when we know we're at the precipice of a breakdown, right? And we're getting really good at this point in our development at identifying those feelings, thoughts, beliefs, sensations and so forth, and being like, oh, I feel it in my spine, I'm beginning to have a panic attack or whatever, right? But that energetic self-mastery is that capacity to say, all right, there it is. The circumstances haven't changed, but I have command of my sensory system. I have the capacity to get into parasympathetic dominance and thereby to have a different response than I have in the past. Okay, so in this breakthrough, we're making the outward swinging circle and we're gonna break the cage of the ribs open, okay? Same gaze point, same breathing technology. Let's do it. Keep that firm ferocity in the posturing of the hands. Taking yourself underneath your own wing, taking matters into your own hands, taking yourself underneath your own wing until you fly, so that you can, stay away from the situations and circumstances that might be robbing you of your equanimity, that might be depleting your enthusiasm molecules, so that you can say yes to freedom. We have the freedom to either succeed, and we have just as much freedom to fail. So these confidence generating practices help us stay super clear at the level of unconscious competency, so that we are always taking the good steps and putting our feet in the right doors, so that we're practicing the freedom to succeed. And it all starts with honing the magnet. Good, last one. So now you're going to bring your right hand in front of the left hand. Still keep the hands pancaked together like so. And as if the hands, each of them, were in separate linear tracks, you're going to very rapidly slide the hands up and down in these linear tracks, okay? And that's also being done with the same gaze point and the same breathing technique. Good. Grounded for a second. Beautiful. So we have one last moving part in this set. I love this mudra. But before we go into it, I want you to tune into the feelings in the musculature of the face, in the Google map of the face, that has been collecting and storing and embedding all of the transit lines of the living transitions that you've gone through in the whole of your life. And give yourself permission to be in the freshness and the spontaneity of only this moment, in the face that you had before you were born. So opening up all the doors in the face simply by relaxing. And feel a wash of equanimity that's as old as time, bathing every transit line in the face. So your right hand is going to make this crazy mudra. So index and middle fingers are sealed, ring and pinky fingers are sealed, and then you're going to open those two components, and then the thumb is extending, so the inner line of the index finger and the inner line of the thumb are creating a sharp right angle, okay? All of this stuff, it's a science of angles and triangles that, you know, help us to be fully alive, maximum fullness, full power, full. So now you're going to take the index, middle, and ring fingers of the left hand and bend them in towards your face and chest, and extend the thumb up and the pinky finger out. Okay, so we've got this going on. Now you're going to insert those 3 inward pointing fingers into your brow center, and you're going to close the eyes all the way down, and you're going to make a circle shape with the lips. And you're going to sip in a long and elegant inhalation, and then let it stay in your body for a moment. And then exhale out of your nostrils. So that's that. So you're sipping the breath in through the circle shape of the mouth, holding on to it, breathing out of the nostrils. And then, of course, like always in this work, we pause in the gap. We mind the gap, okay? Keep your eyes closed for this final wave in the set. Remember, what you are creating is creating you. What are you creating? What were you placed here in this world, in this time of history, to be the creator of? How can you use the life energy that's moving through your organism as fully, as freely, as meaningfully, as usefully? How can you utilize it, optimize it, and alchemize with it? Stay close to the question. It's often less about the answers and more about the question. cycle that you're in the midst of. And then relax the hands. Allowing yourself to be content in this expanded comfort zone. Fundamentally, it's always about remembering how intrinsically powerful we are, how intrinsically powerful you are, how capable we are of creating what we wish to create, what we want to create, what is needed for us to create. And to let it also thereby create us in the process. I hope you feel incredibly grounded and connected and expanded. Thank you so much. Sat Nam.